back with Happy Cloud Creations for the third time. We are going over week 5 of the Prismatic Party Quilt Along. This quilt right here, if you have not heard about it. If you have any questions about this week, please let me know. So we've already gone over how to make our flying geese and our half square triangles. So week 2, we went over the flying geese. I've saved all my videos to my YouTube if you haven't seen those directions yet. And then week 3, we went over the half square triangles in this block. And so this week, 2, 3, week 4, and then this is week 5. We're making this block right here. I don't have any names for my blocks. I just do block 1, block 2, block 3, block 4, you know. So we're going over that one. Very easy. So if you have already made all your flying geese and all your half square triangles, this block is going to go together in a cinch. Block 4 is on page 12 of the pattern. So what you're going to want to do is make sure you're looking at the correct size. And basically, you're going to grab some of those flying geese that you already made and one rectangle. The rectangle is going to be the exact same size as your flying geese. And this will be your background fabric. And you're just going to sew them all together. Whenever I sew flying geese together with other pieces of fabric, I like to press the seam downward. It gives it less bulk because you're not trying to press this little point upward. And then also when you're sewing it to the other piece of fabric, you're going to make sure your needle goes in right above that. If you can see that thread right there, it's going to go right above that. So you know you're doing your correct 1/4 inch seam. A lot of people call that a scant 1/4 inch seam. I just like to call it a correct 1/4 inch seam because it takes into account when you're pressing open your fabric, and it takes account for the thread width. And then you don't lose your points as long as your needle is coming in right above that triangle, right? So it's pretty easy. If you already got your flying geese, you're just attaching it to a solid square. And then for the side units, you're going to want to make sure you do one of each. So each block requires a left side and a right side, which in the instructions, that's basically what this is saying. An A side and a B side, an A side and a B side, an A side and a B side. I hope that makes sense. In my mind, that was the best way to explain it. Instead of telling you to do these directions twice, you're wanting to do an A unit and a B unit. When I'm sewing like a square to a half square triangle, typically I'll want to put the bulkiest piece through my machine first, but this unit down here has 2 half square triangles, so either way is fine. And then, you know, when you're sewing, once you have your rows together, you're going to want to nest your seams. So if you can see on the back of mine, this bottom piece is pressed to my left, and then this one's pressed to right. So that when you put them together, they just kind of go together like puzzle pieces, just right up next to each other. And it's good. And then you got all 3 pieces together. And then you got this one. You're just going to have to join these together. So since there's 4 blocks, typically if I wasn't doing this in a quilt along, I would just chain piece everything. So like each step, I would do them all at the same time so that you're not wasting time. Hello, Mom. Hello, Patrick, Patricia, and Ramona. So once we have these, we're going to nest these in here, and that's why these were all pressed upward, because these ones are all pressed downward. So that way we can nest these seams as well. Which basically, let me see if I can show you. You're taking these, and this one's going to be a little higher because the seam's pressed this way, and this one's going to be a little higher because it's pressed that way, and you just kind of butt them up. You can see. And then pin in place. If anything's bigger than just like a 2.5-inch square, I like to pin it together just so that I know it's not gonna move around at all. Some people don't like pinning. I love pinning. And I sew over my pins, which you should not sew over your pins. I got these thinner needles, and I noticed that when I sew over them, they just bend so easily. They go in the fabric a lot easier than these thicker ones, which I don't know if you can see. These yellow thicker ones. They slide through the fabric much nicer, but they bend so much easier, I noticed. Like, the needle doesn't just, like, slide around it, which is kind of a pain. Let's see. Okay. So once you got all those 3 pieces done, and you sew them together, voila, you have your block. Does anybody have any questions about this block? It's fairly easy once you have your your flying geese and these half square triangles done. This week we're going to be making 4 of these. So they'll go together fairly quickly. If you haven't finished all your flying geese and you're wanting to get a little ahead for next week, you may want to finish the rest of your flying geese and half square triangles, because next week we'll be making 8 blocks, which include flying geese and half square triangles. Sorry about next week. It's a lot more work than this week. But the final week is just these little 4 corner blocks, which will go together super quick. So here's mine from the main quilt. This was a large throw, I think. And then this is the baby. So if you can see the size difference. Any questions? I guess not. This was a very, very quick video. Sorry about that. I can't think of anything else to tell you guys. If you are new to this Quilt Along, and a couple weeks back there were a couple corrections on block 2 for the king size. So if you are ever wondering if any of my patterns have corrections, I do have a spot on my website that is on happycloudcreations.com. You click pattern corrections or updates, and you can click on that, and it'll tell you if there's been any corrections. I didn't even think to do that, but somebody told me, oh yeah, other pattern designers usually have that on their website. So I think it's a good way to get information out to you guys if there's any corrections. So I'm really excited. We only got this week and then 2 more blocks, and then we can put our tops together. I know a lot of people have already finished putting their tops together in the Quilt Along group. So if you haven't started yet and are like, I need ideas, you can go over to the quilts, go to photos in the Quilt Along group, and you can scroll through that to get ideas. So I guess I will be on here next Tuesday at 10 a.m. again, just in case anyone has questions. It's going to be very similar to this block, so it won't be very difficult to put together, but I like to jump on every week just to check in with you guys, see if anyone has questions. So I'll talk to you guys next week, and you guys have a great day.